So I just finished this print on the K2 Pro. It took about 30 hours to print in Panchroma PLA, and it's pretty big. It's almost 300 on the Y, about 200 on the Z, and it came out looking great. Really nicely, actually. But the thing is, that's not what interests me about this printer. When we did the K2 Pro video a few months ago, I was relatively happy with it. It didn't do anything special. It wasn't a super revolutionary printer or anything, but it printed well. It was pretty good. I actually called it the light version of the K2 Plus, and yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. But this printer has surprised me in good ways, but unfortunately bad ways too. What I did notice after some use with this printer is that it prints ABS and ASA and carbon filaments really, really well. It has actually become my workhorse for those filaments. For PLA, I just don't use this printer. And it's not because it prints PLA badly. Well, that's not quite true. Let me show you. This is the CFS, which came with the printer. It's nice. It doesn't have a dryer, but as a color swapper, it works great, and there aren't really any problems with this unit specifically. It's totally fine. The problem for me was between the CFS and the printer. It's this guy, the buffer. This was perfectly reliable for me at first, but it didn't stay perfectly reliable. So sometimes I just get an error on the printer saying that the tool head is blocked, which it definitely is not blocked. It's the pathway and the buffer that's the problem. Even with a very cleanly snipped filament strand, it still gets snagged sometimes, and then you need to kind of pull it out and push it back in, and then it works. Now, it doesn't happen for every print, actually. It was kind of hard to get that error to pop up, but it happens, and that was enough for me to stop using multicolor with this printer when I already have a lot of other printers that print multicolor more reliably. So that was the CFS sort of out of the question for me. It was a downer, but it's not the only reason why I don't print PLA on this machine. In the video we did a few months ago, I spoke about the step servo motors and how quiet they are, but unfortunately, I also spoke about how the fans sort of make that a moot point. Because of the fans, this printer is as loud as any other printer, actually. But that's just for PLA. If you're printing ABS on this machine, it's dead quiet. I love this, and this is even with a chamber heater, which obviously has a fan. Printing ABS and ASA on this printer has been a dream. It is quiet. The surface quality is great. Ironing works really well on this printer. I never used to use ironing on ABS prints, and now it's on all of my ABS prints. The reliability on this is phenomenal. I don't think I've had a single failed print with ABS since the first couple of weeks of using this, when I was still discovering its idiosyncrasies. And it prints nylon really well too. I've been printing some nylon and nylon CF parts recently, and they're fantastic. And I can say the exact same for PETG and PCTG as well. They're great. One other thing is TPU usage. So in the first look video, we had poor results with softer than average TPU. So something that's softer than 95A. But I printed something in 95A just to show you guys, and it came out really well. This is our basic profile for TPU, slightly modded for that printer, but it's good. It has a couple of issues. Like on top, there's some issues with the very, very top layers, and this is because I was pushing it a bit too fast. And a little bit of blobbing, but there's very little stringing. The surface quality is great. I didn't use any supports with this one, so there's a little issue here at the very bottom. For 95A, you can get great quality with this printer. However, for anything softer than 95A, I only managed to get it work with simple mods. And the mods are really, really simple, it's true, but you still have to do this yourself. What about the slicer? Okay, so Creality Print is based on Orca, and it works like Orca, but it's not the same UI. It's jumbled around. One of the things I like about Orca forks is that the UI is the same. Isn't that the whole point? Yes, you have Orca capability, but streamlined use out of the box for experienced Orca users is just not there. Which at first is a bit irritating, but you'll get the hang of it quickly enough. It's not that different, and it has all of the features of Orca you probably want, but if you're the kind to stick to one slicer, which I totally get, yes, you can use Orca, but the trouble is we still don't have full functionality for the CFS or the webcam. And I guess for me, that's another reason not to use the CFS with this printer. And if you want all the details that Fluid or Mainsail give you, Orca is a must because, again, like a lot of printers, the device interface on Creality Print is horrendously bare for veteran users, but approachable for newbies. What is apparent to me after this time, however, is that while there is an obvious similarity between the K2 Pro, the K2 Plus, and the standard K2, there is not enough compatibility to give that similarity any worthwhile attention. I think Creality had a great opportunity to streamline standardization and upgrade routes for their flagship range. Make the K2 upgradable to have a chamber heater, make the K2 Pro able to support a K2 Plus hotend. Unfortunately, that is not straightforward, and for those like me who are interested in the upgradability of printers so that they don't become obsolete, it's a bit of a letdown. So when I did that video a few months ago, I called this printer the everyman printer, and I sort of stand by that now, but only very tenuously, because clearly I didn't have a great experience with the multicolor, and a lot of you are into multicolor. But it's still a great printer for functional parts, and probably one of the best I have tried in the last year at least. This printer does fit the middle ground. It's not for knickknacks and it's not for really high temperature materials, but it is good for functional parts. And if you print a lot of ABS and PETG and PCTG and to a lesser extent nylon, yes, this is an incredibly reliable printer. As a standalone printer, that's what it's got going for it. Maintenance wise, I haven't had to tighten belts or run another input shaping. I haven't had to run a PID tune. The bed mesh is similar to what it was when I got the printer. It's not perfect, but it's in the acceptable range. If you print mostly PLA, which is probably most of you, and at the risk of our sales dropping, I gotta say that you probably have better options. So firstly, you don't need a heated chamber for PLA, and you don't even need an enclosure for PLA. This is not an absolute necessity. Recently, we had the Elegoo Centauri Carbon 2 come to the shop, which is probably more an everyman printer than this one because it has multicolor, it has high temperature capability to a point, and it is considerably more affordable than the K2 Pro. And if you print a lot of multicolor, then maybe a color swapper just isn't for you. Maybe a tool changer might be the best choice. But as mentioned in other videos, new printers come to this shop every week or two, and we rotate things. So in the office here, if I don't need a printer, if it's no longer relevant, or if it's simply not good, it moves on. But this printer will be staying here because it does fill a niche for me. It works. If you have any questions about the K2 Pro or the Creality flagship range, then let us know in the comments below. You can also join our Discord server where there is printer talk on a daily basis. We'll be back with another video next week, so until then, later.